Coach, you always think about the people first. For Jaylen, who's making progress before experiencing some discomfort. How do you feel for him? As he goes through this next step here.
I mean, you just hit it on the head. My heart hurts for him. You feel for a young man that he continues to work. How much a part of this team he is. How much he's needed. But just again, him on his journey and what he's been through, the ins, the outs, the ups, the downs. Those things, they hit the young man first more than it is about the basketball side of it.
Obviously, it's still indefinite. Now indefinitely wasn't ruled out for the rest of the season. But does this update, I guess, for better or worse, provide some clarity on the situation and how you have to adapt moving forward?
Well, that's great that you said that, BD. I really think it does. Because there was a level of uncertainty of what was going on, and when's he going to be back? How long is he going to be back? And everybody wondered, and everybody wanted to know. And I think even the players, in the most part, want to understand, when they're going to have their brother back on the court. And so having the clarity of knowing exactly what's going on, I think says a lot to the group. So now everybody can establish, where they fall, where they sit in what we're doing. And so now that we can really just dive into exactly how we need to approach these 21 games.
You just mentioned how the players, can also get some clarity from it. Not only Jaylen. When we talked with some of them recently, they've, expressed we know Jaylen's coming back. We know Jaylen's coming back. Obviously, with that being indefinite, it's still uncertain. But how do you kind of assess the morale of the team and how they receive the news?
Well, I think they rally around him. I think we've had this obviously more times this year than we've liked to. When Paolo goes down first, you rally around him. When Fran goes down next, you rally around him. Wendell's been down, Gary's been down, Jet's been down, J.I.'s been down, Goga's been down. When you have guys that go down, you understand what it is they're going through, and you want to wrap your arms around them and let them know, one, it's going to be okay, we're supporting you, and we're going to be right here, helping you along the way. So that's the same sentiment that it is for Jaylen. Like, they were going to wrap their arms around him, make sure that he feels what we're doing is based on how he is with his energy around us as well, which is very important.
Jaylen kind of told us a little bit of the timeline this week after the Cleveland game. He felt a little bit of soreness. Had he undergone MRI before this week?
No, not in that regard. No, he had gone and gotten looked at, obviously, from our medical. But the thing about it is with him is that we were just trying to ramp to a certain degree of where he felt he was comfortable, and he's done a great job of communicating with our medical staff exactly what is needed to be done or how he was feeling after each treatment, which is why it was so important that he said what he felt in that moment, that that he was able to get the imaging.
Jaylen obviously has dealt with kind of these injuries throughout his career. What does it say about him that he continues to kind of keep a positive outlook on things and kind of push through maybe when others might feel frustrated that they're not able to kind of have their body be right? I think
it's growth with him. I still remember the first year when he did the hand. He's sitting there working on, left-hand layups with Coach Tibbetts. Little things like that. Or he understands it's going to make him a better basketball player, but also a more patient young man, handling situations differently, knowing there's things that are out of your control. But you've got to make sure that you find the right perspective on it. And he's done a great job of finding that perspective, again, pouring into his teammates, but also knowing that it's part of his journey of what he needs to do, to continue to have a long NBA career.
We've talked, I know, when Paolo and Franz were out about their contributions when they were on the sideline, kind of dealing with these injuries. What has Jaylen been able to do, and how valuable has he been just having his presence?
In our sessions, he's constantly communicating the things that he sees. He's calling guys up, understanding exactly what's needed. His vantage point, knowing he's not going to the game, and I know Paul and Franz both talked about that, was that when you're not checking into a game, you see the game a little bit different, more like a coach. And I think that's what he's done, and that's the perspective that he's giving.
Coach, as you get deeper into the season, are the lineups and rotations already set, or is there still experimenting going on as you keep bringing guys in and out?
Well, now that you have a little bit of clarity of what's going on, you're trying to find different sparks, different situations that you can be provided off the bench or to start the unit. But I think right now we're going to be solidified in how we're rotating a little bit. But every game is going to be a little different in the regard that sometimes you do need a spark, you do need a different energy. It might be a different matchup. And so we talked about it today with the group that everybody's still is going to stay ready for exactly what's needed, and when called upon that you are ready to go.
Do you expect Jaylen to return before the postseason?
I don't. I think it's indefinitely. So I'm not. I can't really give an exact date or not. I mean, I think we're just going to have to wait and see how things go.
With the Raptors twice in 3 days, what are some of the pros and cons of playing the same opponent twice like that?
That's a great. I just wrote that down this morning. It's the pro and the fact that you can look at it like a playoff series a little bit. Like, how do you come out the first game? Because it's hard to beat a team twice. And I think our ability to focus in on the game plan, play the right way, understand what we need to do well in order to get the game, and then when you play them the second time, what adjustments need to be made? What did you do well? And again, what can you clean up? I think those are very important pieces in a game like this. And you're happy it's happening at this time of year.
When we walked into the gym, we saw Mo just doing a little bit of stationary shooting. Just how much a little jolt of good news like that help you guys right now?
A ton. I really do. I think it helps out a ton when you see his energy, his spirit, what he provides to this team, his voice, and then you see him back on the floor with how hard he's been working. I mean, he's been working his tail off. And I really think that's so good for our guys to see because they understand who he is, what he means to this team. You can't explain it enough. And when it comes to the question, I go back to the pros and cons. Part of it is we've been playing good basketball, and I think we just have to finish the job. And I think that's a big portion of it. And now we're starting in March, starting new, that we want to be playing our best basketball in this month in April, and that's what these guys understand, and we're hanging our hat on.
Obviously, you're coming off a game where a Hall of Fame legendary player had a Hall of Fame legendary performance. But what have been the takeaways and what's kind of the vibe, kind of looking back at that game and understanding what happened and maybe that you guys were doing a lot of the right things but just not able to get the result?
Yeah, I think it's all the little things. It goes back to that every single game. We always talk about it not being the final play that does it to you. It's more about what's happening throughout the game. It's the offensive rebounds, the taking care of the basketball, knocking your free throws down, all those little pieces, understanding the game plan within the game defensively and offensively, continue to share and move the basketball with energy and just continue to play the right way. I think that's what you hit home on, and the guys understand that. And it's just continue to play magic basketball, which is hard playing, hard-nosed, physical, tough defense, offensively sharing it, moving it, pushing the basketball with even more pace now, and getting out and running.
Is there going to have to be much of an adjustment without Jaylen, or because you've already been playing without him for a month?
Well, it's just now solidified where guys are. So there's that, like you said before, the questions, no longer need to be asked, like when. And so I think our guys understanding where they are and how they're going to be rotating in and out, and that's more solidified now, knowing when he's coming back. Now they understand exactly the case. It makes it a little bit not fair or right, but it makes it a little bit easier to grasp. Thank you all.
Jay, you were making good progress until experiencing some discomfort recently. How disappointing, perhaps even relieving, is it to know what you're dealing with?
I mean, we knew what we were dealing with. It's just tough to restart because I was making progress. But I think, it's not been a bad thing because I don't feel the anger. I don't feel mad, or there's no resentment or nothing because I've been doing this for the past month. All the work that I've been putting in for the past month has been meticulous, rehab-based, strengthening everything up, and really resetting my body. I was charging up, for a stretch run, and it's no different now. I get to charge up. It's just not for a stretch run, for the playoffs, which was the ultimate goal anyway. Coming off of last year, holding a lot of pain, sadness. That playoff loss brought a lot of feelings out that I hadn't felt in a while, and they have stuck since then. Since that May 5th day, when the season ended. So I think that's been a lot of the catalyst, for just pushing through some of these things is, helping me see in the bigger picture, knowing what I'm working for and, being okay putting that work in.
When in the last month or so did you first start to feel like maybe the recovery process wasn't going as smoothly as you hoped for it to?
I mean, the whole time is rough. Bruises are a weird thing, especially the position of it. So none of it was going according to plan, according to my plan at least. My plan, I would have been playing fresh off the break, but God don't always work on my timing. So, but it was fine. We were getting great work in. I was feeling great progress. I was literally not too far off from coming back and getting games in. It's just how life works sometimes. My ways aren't his ways, and I'm learning that and experiencing that firsthand right now. So just leaning on that a bit is giving me some confidence throughout all of this to continue working, to continue staying the course, because things could be a lot worse. And I don't have to go look too far, to a teammate who's dealing with, a real serious, tough injury to come back from in the ACL, which Mo is. So glass half full perspective is what I'm trying to carry through all of this.
What were the complications you were dealing with, and when did they arise?
Cleveland game, had a great workout, playing defense, getting in my stance, closing out, condition shooting, playing twos, really were progressing really well. That's why I said I was close, and that's the hardest part is, I feel like I'd gotten over that hump. I'd hit almost the last checkpoint to playing, and, and then this arises. So can't do anything about it. Literally is just resetting the clock and getting back to work. I've done a great job. We'd all done a great job, everybody from L'Oreal on the soft tissue work to Daniel and to Dor with the strength and conditioning to Arnie overseeing everything. Everybody's helped taking care of me, and we were in a great place. God just threw another wrinkle in the way, which is okay.
You dealt well up.
Yeah.
You dealt with injuries throughout your career. Is it frustrating all to have this kind of start and stop? And, you want to play. I know you want to be out there with your teammates.
Yeah.
Is it just difficult to have the start and stop nature of things and just kind of be going through something different again?
Yeah. The hardest thing has just been not being able to be present and out there with everybody, not being able to truly interact, with the crowd and the fans and be a part of what we're doing. Reality of it is, just in that point of a season where we're figuring things out and we're putting things together, and it's hard seeing the guys go through that and only being able to watch from the side. I don't have no physical stake in the game. I can't get out there and help put my body on the line to really feel what's going on and help us to make a shift. Everything has to be, with words, where typically I like to lead with action. So it's been a dope challenge, low-key, because it's helping me grow. And I've been through it before. Now it's really on me. It's not on nobody else, on how I come back, because this is a position I've been in. I've gained knowledge from being in this position before, both mentally and spiritually. So can I apply them again to this situation, to make myself ready for when I come back? I just am viewing it all as a test, to see how bad I want this. When you want something bad enough, the whole universe aligns to help you make that happen. So that's where I'm at.
You have to determine.
Oh, shit.
Sorry.
Do you anticipate returning before postseason?
My goal is to come back and play. My goal is to come back and play and help impact as we get to the postseason and get into the playoffs. So that's my goal. That's what I'm shooting for. I think if you don't have a personal goal, it gets kind of hard to get through day-to-day work because you're not seeing, a bigger picture. And that's mine. And everything's aligned with that so far. So, obviously things may change as the process goes on. But as of right now, that's my goal. That's where the timeline's at. And I feel real confident in both my strength, the strength, conditioning, and training staff, and my God having my back to make that happen.
What does your day-to-day look like right now?
Slow motion. We're about to take the next steps and, having conversations with, with doctors, but really just ready to get to work. I'm excited to get back to work, something I've been doing. Take a day or two to continue to process this, to continue to get myself in a mental space to restart and start from ground zero. But I'm cool with it, you know what I'm saying, because it's a challenge that I get to take on. I'd love for that challenge to be coming out and winning games, but again, life don't always work how you want it to. So I'm really just ready to start taking this head on, start to stack my days up, as Kel would say, and get to work.
You mentioned a few times the big picture of things. Have there been conversations of saying, you just signed an extension, you guys kind of know that it's still a long game as far as this group coming together and advancing. Have there been conversations of saying, let's focus on long-term health rather than trying to get back before the end of the season now that we're entering the final 20 or so?
I think that's always a point to be made. You always keep that in your mind. I think personally and, as others, given how great of and how high of character we have in this building, they're always going to look out for my best interests, which I don't take for granted, and I very much appreciate everybody for having that mindset. But it gives me another level of confidence, to be honest, that I have signed. That they have invested in me and they do believe in me. So therefore, I can give them all I got. You know what I'm saying? I can. I feel like I'm affordable to take some risks because I have a bit more stability, than I would say in the past. So I think it's a bit of a double-edged sword. You get some comfort, but also, it gives you a reason, an ability to push through some things. And that's just my mindset. That's what I've always carried. And I don't think anything changes now. Like I said, I have my goal in mind. I'm going to do all the work I can possible, to hit that mark for myself, but for everybody here, for the team, for the coaches, for the fans. Really just before this season becomes a memory, I want us to leave our imprint, on the year 24, 25, and I think we can make a pretty good one. So that's where my head's at.
Thanks, Jaylen. So I have got another question here. Do you anticipate having surgery, arthroscopic surgery?
We're talking about it. We'll go with what best suits, not only that timeline, but health, and go from there. But again, like I said, everything right now is pointing towards getting back at the end of the year and get ready to play basketball. So until something changes, that's what I'm shooting for, and that's what I'm going off with.